What is up, Bears fans? Welcome to the Chicago Bears Huddle, your UK take on all things Chicago Bears. Is it goodbye, Illinois? Hello, Indiana? Well, it's looking increasingly likely with news that's come out in sort of the last hour regarding stadium bills, mega project bills, bills reaching the governor's desk in Indiana. We've got all the latest on that. Could our Chicago Bears be on their way to Indiana? And look, it's not without precedent, is it? You know, look, the New York Jets and the New York Giants both play in New Jersey. So, you know, look, out of the state, there are also examples of teams playing outside of their city as well. Obviously, the San Francisco 49ers play in Santa Clara. The Dallas Cowboys also play in Arlington. So look, there is examples there of teams that don't play in their home city. So look, I think the Gary Bears or the Indiana Bears or the Lake Wolf Bears or the Hammond Bears are not going to come to fruition, and they will always be the Chicago Bears. But could they be the Chicago Bears from Indiana? That is the key question. And why are we talking about Indiana, man? This man here, Governor Mike Braun, may hold the key. The governor has been speaking about this possible stadium relocation by the Bears to Northwest Indiana. Why? Well, apparently he believes that, well, he has said, now, again, you know, you've got to kind of take as much confidence in this as you can. Look, I'm not saying that Governor Braun is not telling the truth. You know, he, at the end of the day, he could be kind of telling the truth. He could be kind of sewing it for his own political advantage. We all know what politicians are like, and let's get that straight. You know, he said that the Bears came to us, as in they went to the state of Indiana. It was not the state of Indiana going with the begging bowl to the Bears, allegedly, is what the governor is saying. Apparently, the Bears decided to approach Indiana as a possibility after Illinois declined to use taxpayer funds to help with the new stadium. Now, I don't think that was ever to build the new stadium. The Bears have always been very clear in the fact that they don't want the state or the city to build the stadium. They want to build their own stadium because they want to own the stadium outright, get all the revenue that comes from it, etc., etc. What the Bears are looking for, and have always been looking for, is a commitment from state government, from local government, whoever, from mayors, from governors, to commit to, you know, helping with infrastructure, helping with, you know, roads and accesses and other things around the stadium. That has always been the intent of the Bears, never to kind of, you know, ask the state to pay for the stadium outright. That has not been the case in the slightest. In fact, you know, when he was asked about Indiana missing out on the Bears staying within the state, Governor Braun commented, "You snooze, you lose," which, you know, is very, very true indeed. He went on to say this. He said, "They came to us. We didn't try to lure them." He said they were being told bluntly by Illinois, you've got to build your own stadium. We're not putting any taxpayer dollars into it. We've never got ahead of our skis. I must admit, that must be an American saying. That's not a British saying. That's a new one on me. But look, I think it's more around the infrastructure, like I've said. I think, you know, if you go back to the whole Arlington Heights idea, situation is always that the Bears were going to build Arlington Heights themselves, and we're going to then ask the state of Illinois and Governor Pritzker to put money into this mega projects bill to secure property taxes, to make sure property taxes were low so the Bears didn't face huge property taxes, to stay within the state, and also to put infrastructure in and around the stadium to allow fans to have a good game day experience, as well as obviously being able to access the stadium easily. Governor Braun went on to say this. He said it's going to be a lot easier to run a business here in Indiana over the next 40 to 50 years than it would be over there. So it certainly seems that whatever they are doing within the state of Indiana is very much designed at supporting business, at helping business come in, business create jobs, business do what it needs to do. Now, the state legislature in Indiana sent the bill that outlines the financial incentives and the authority to build a stadium to the governor's desk on Thursday, today. Team and state officials are looking at an area near Wolf Lake in Hammond to build this new stadium. Now, in kind of comparison to this, in Illinois, a House committee has moved forward a bill that would look at property taxes at the former Arlington racetrack site in Chicago's northwest suburbs on the site that the Bears use, the so-called mega projects bill. But it appears that that bill is not going, very quickly through that state legislature, through that committee stages to be able to pass. Governor Braun has said that basically Illinois has dragged its feet over several years of negotiating with the Bears, and the Bears have made a commitment to seriously consider the state of Indiana when it comes to a brand new stadium in the next year or so. So look, it seems that this is a bill that is heading ahead, and it was convincingly passed within the state Senate in Indiana. It was actually passed by 45-4 within the Senate, so very little opposition to this bill. They're looking at putting around $1 billion in tax revenue towards the stadium district, putting a lot of money into that area to develop it, to bring it up to speed, to bring it up to a situation where the Bears, could be happy with what they're getting within that area. So, look, it looks like Indiana are moving firmly ahead in this procedure to build this brand new stadium. Now, it's not just the state's governor who has been having his say on the matter as well. Indiana Senate Appropriations Committee Chair Ryan Mishler has pointed to the wide margins of support both in the Senate and the House of Representatives in Indiana. He said this: Indiana's commitment to the Chicago Bears, and it presents us with an opportunity to further foster our working relationship with them. I look forward to continued conversations with the Bears leadership team as we work to bring the Bears to Indiana. Mishler was the lead sponsor of the bill in the Senate. Look, this is moving ahead at a rapid rate of knots here. Look, just to put more sort of meat on the bones in terms of what the governor said around that quote around doing business in Indiana. He said that doesn't mean something could waylay it, but I think they're really already now got a look at what it's like doing business in a place like Indiana, and it's going to be a lot easier to run a business here than in the state of Illinois. So look, it does seem like Indiana has got the lead on this one. Not just that, but the city of Hammond and the state government are obviously offering to pay and having to cover the Bears' costs and help the Bears to have all the infrastructure to have what they need from a new stadium. It certainly looks like Indiana is throwing everything it can at persuading the Chicago Bears to head to this area around Wolf Lake near Hammond in Indiana. Guys, look, I think we all prefer the Bears to stay in Chicago, or even if not Chicago, within the city itself, within the suburbs, within Arlington Heights, within Illinois. That is the home state of the Bears. But look, the Bears have got to look at this in terms of financial situation. Look, they don't want to be hit by crippling property taxes. They don't want to be hit by a situation where they're putting their stadium into an area where fans are going to have a not great game day experience, where the infrastructure around the stadium is not going to be there in terms of the roads, in terms of the properties, the businesses, the other sort of eating areas, bars, etc., hotels, to help with to give Chicago fans what they need, what they deserve, an excellent game day experience. And to me, Governor Pritzker has a lot to answer for on this. His feet dragging and his slow movement on this and his anti-business stance, so it seems, he is going to cost the state of Illinois the Chicago Bears, whereas Governor Braun is obviously doing all he can to bring the Bears to Indiana. So it's a very difficult one. And, look, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to pick up the Republican Party or downtrod the Democrat Party here. I've got no axe to grind in this debate, guys. I'm English. I don't vote in your elections. I can't vote in your elections. I don't live in your country. I'm just a Bears fan living in the UK, but it does seem like Indiana is way ahead now. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. I'd love to get your thoughts on this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are the Bears off to Indiana? Seems that way. Seems like it's heading that way for definite. Guys, thank you for watching. Bear down. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bear down.